Happy Veterans Day, happy Remembrance Day. That goes for you as well, James. Zero Alpha 11, remote
And once again in the
homestead.
U.S., Thanksgiving, there's a busy travel time in the States.
That's a busy time in the States there. We got a guest on tonight, Frankie. James there. He's got a YouTube channel there. Like I said, Zero Alpha 11, remote homesteading. James, tell everybody about your YouTube channel. I know you did during the pre show, but this is the radio version. So that was
Oh,
the practice run.
welcoming everybody. I'm James. Me and my wife Dana and our two young boys are the residents of Zero Alpha 11 remote homestead located west of Prince George in British Columbia, and we've been here 4 years. And it says what it does on the tin. We're a remote homestead. We get snowed in for 6 months a year. Um, we're trying to be as self-sufficient as possible, live off the land, and be as healthy and fit as possible. And yeah, we've been here for 4 years, and I live stream our life every single day on YouTube, and we have a great community over there and growing and watching us grow as a family. We've got a bunch of animals over here. We've got some sheep for milking, rabbits, ducks, dogs and cats. And hopefully next year we get some bees because we love honey. I think some of the honey made out here will be some of the best around. So I'm excited to get my bees next year.
Yeah, the fireweed honey.
Oh, mate,
Yeah, the good
like it's
stuff.
all wildflowers out here. Yeah, I've never had it, but I'm sure it's good.
I'm just looking at your
But
YouTube
yeah,
channel
mate.
here with some nice titles like Off Grid Alone, Snowed In for 6 months, Rain on a Tin Roof, Raised Beds Off Grid, Fly Over, Me and Mom, Drone there, Beginner's Guide to Pressure Canning. That's the kind of stuff you can find on their channel there. Great channel and starting to grow. And you've seen a lot of the world. What was kind of new to you coming to North Central BC?
Well, I came over to Canada first of all when I served in the army, and we were stuck out on the prairies in Medicine Hat. So that was my first view of Canada, and I thought it was decent out there, but it wasn't like crazy. Like I wasn't like overwhelmed by it. Plus, we was working in the army at the time. And then I come over for residence, and I landed in Hamilton, Ontario. And I mean, there's not much places like Hamilton back in Ontario there. So I stayed there for a little bit and met my wife, and then eventually we moved out west back to Medicine Hat. And then we went to Okotoks where I just fell in love with the mountains because we was pretty close to like Kananaskis and Banff and whatever. So we started diving into the wild camping in the bush there, just in a tent or whatnot, and just fell in love with the bush, just being out in the wild and um, just the freedom of being out there is something I've never experienced ever in my lifetime, coming from just outside London, and it was very good for my mental health, and we loved it out there. And fast forward a couple of years, we ended up buying this property out here, and we get to live our dream life every day, waking up out here in the bush. But we're comfortable. We're not in a tent no more. We're in a nice log home. So, but what do I think of Central BC? I think it doesn't have the big, where I live doesn't have the big white cap mountains like everyone thinks of Banff and whatnot. But I mean, we have the rolling hills, and the wildlife is something I've never experienced before. The wildlife out here is one of the reasons I would love to stay living out here for the rest of my life, because we're just blessed to see so much wildlife. And also, all the land around you is accessible as well. You can hike up it, quad up it, you can do whatever. And there's also game everywhere as well for hunting, fishing, recreating, just living a dream basically out here that we've created for ourselves. I love the lack of people out here, because when we was in Banff and Kananaskis, we would be so far in the mountains there, and you would still be just hounded by people constantly. So I really like the unpopulated part of this place, and yeah, it's very good for us as a family.
Yeah, that's great. That's great. What kind of livestock you rocking these days?
Oh, rocking up here, I'm rocking three sheep. Two of them are milkers. We love our milk sheep. We got into that this year. One is a ram, two are females. I think they've both been bred. So If so, we're going to have lambs in March, which will be a challenge as it's the first time I've ever lambed, but I've worked on a working ranch where we carved out 3,000 calves from heifers. We've got the sheep, we've got the rabbits, which was my first homesteading animal was the rabbits. I mean, I personally think if you're looking at bang for your buck and getting easy meat and something that's relatively easy to take care of, rabbit is the most um, number one homesteading animal to get at the beginning, but it's not as thrilling as having sheep or whatever, right? I get that, but they can produce so much meat with a pair or a three. And then from the rabbits, we got ducks. We love duck meat and duck eggs. We eat them regularly. We had like, I think up to 56 ducks this year at the height of our duck herd or flock or whatever it is. And
Uh,
I've butchered some down, and now we're at about 30 going into the winter, and a lot of them are egg layers. So next year we're going to be preserving a lot of eggs, and yeah, we love our duck meat, rabbit meat, lamb as well. I mean, yeah, it's different, totally different than from what I'm used to, because I'm used to just going to a supermarket and buying meat, and now I've got to do it all myself, which is a challenge at the beginning, but the more experience, the easier it gets. But at the beginning, it was a bit weird, I must admit, because never butchered an animal.
yeah, the first time's kind of my stepdad was a butcher, and I watched him a lot and thought maybe I knew something about butchering, and it turned out when I had to do it, I did. That
Yeah,
you just follow the seams. It tells you where to go most of the time,
yeah,
right?
it
So
does. Yeah,
some a little bit of creativity there. Once if you don't know certain areas, like, well, I don't know exactly where to cut this, but I'll just make it up.
yeah.
You
Well, someone told me, sorry, out here, um, a local that I met is as long as you get the meat off and get it in the freezer, it doesn't matter how it comes off, whether it's a funny shape or a perfect steak, as long as you use as much as the animal as possible, and as long as the meat comes home, it's a good day. So I've just been practicing with numbers, and I'm getting there. I mean, it's going good, learning every day. And
I've been all over the wilderness in the Fraser Lake area fighting fires over the years, so who knows if I've been.
you've
Uh,
been near me, I promise. Did you? I bet you've been near me. Yeah,
there's a high chance.
yeah.
I spent 6 weeks one summer alone south of Fraser Lake. Just one summer.
I
I was
know
like,
that. Was that in 18 by any chance?
that one was 21, but then
Okay, it might have been.
every other season I ended up down there at some point or other. Yeah,
Yeah.
what kind of wildlife you bump into a lot out there? You don't probably see grizzly bears as often, but I know some are in the area.
Oh yeah, grizzlies, mate. You see grizzlies and hear of lots of grizzly sightings out here. I mean, I've only lived here for 4 years, but there's a road behind my house, a logging road, where some old boys go camping for a couple of weeks and moose hunting. And last year on their moose hunt, I think they said they saw like 3 or 4 different grizzlies in a week. There's a lake down by, I don't know, 15 kilometers down the road, and they're pretty prolific around there, the grizzlies. Lots of black bear, nice, healthy looking black bears. Um, Deer, I'm pretty sure they're muleys.
There was
Um,
a grizzly paw print down when we were at the Chaco Reservoir fighting a fire there that was bigger than
mm,
my footprint, than my
that's
boot.
scary, man.
Yeah, it's a big bear, it's
The
out
big
there.
bear. You got to respect them, mate, because I'm from a place where the biggest thing in England is mammal is a deer. Like we don't have anything of this sort near me where I live. So being out in the bush cutting firewood alone, you've got to have all your senses around you. I've got my blue heeler dog that I bring with me, and she's a good protector. She'll notify me if anything's sniffing in, but you can't disrespect them, and you've always got to be aware the minute you relax and think they're not going to be there, they're probably going to roll up. So,
Well, the
but,
most important thing is the time of year, right? And this is the time of year you
mm,
don't want to run into them.
oh, really?
Yeah, this is really the time. Like as you're
Why is
coming
that?
into winter, they're like, they know that they have to go to sleep soon, but it's like it's too cold to be up, but there's not enough snow to go to sleep yet. They're grumpy because they don't have enough fat on. They're territorial.
Mm,
I got something. I'm protecting it. I'm gonna eat it. I'll destroy anything that comes near. It's just they're way more. You bump into them in July and August, and they're out there eating berries and pulling fish out of the water, and they're happy, and they don't care what you're doing or who you are, and they
Hmm.
don't care about each other. And that's the truth of it. You go to like a salmon bonanza going on, the bears will all come down and share. If there's enough for everybody, they'll just mostly ignore each other. So it's really time sensitive, and this is the time of year. That's why so lately there's been a lot of grizzly bear attacks in the news, and it's very shocking for everybody. But notice the pattern year after year. October, November, that's when and you're out there sneaking around and you're masking your scent so the deer can't smell you, and then you're not putting yourself into wise position to be encountering a grizzly bear. But for the most part, most of the year, you know what? The most dangerous thing in British Columbia is a human being.
100%.
You know,
I'm more scared living in a city around thousands of people than I am out here in the bush. I like people ask that question all the time. Are you scared of bears? Are you scared of wolves and all this? And I'm like, when you see them, if you're not really bothering them and they're good, they're not going to bother you. But when you're in around lots of humans, you don't know who's going through what or what's happening, and it can be a scary place, especially with the big smoke like London.
yeah, even the humans that aren't father stabbers and mother rapers and father rapers and mother stabbers, even the ones that aren't those terrible things, are still idiots when they drive. So
Scary. Driving is scary. Like people think it's scary living out here, but when I lived in the Toronto and we had to travel on, I couldn't imagine putting my boys in a car just to go to Walmart and get on that QEW or the 400 series. It is so dangerous. It's unbelievable. Even the roads out here are so dangerous. I mean, that's why I'm blessed in the winter. We can just shut down and we don't have to worry about driving or anything. Because to me, that is one of the most dangerous things a human can do now is drive. But we kind of look
absolutely.
past it. We look past it now.
We were going to a gig in Kitchener there like 15 years ago, and it was raining really hard, and there was cars everywhere, and you couldn't see like the signs because it was raining so hard. We didn't know where we're supposed to turn off, and this is before everybody had GPS and whatnot, and your phone just told you where to go. Which makes city living. But back then, you had to like look at maps ahead of time and try to guess. It's like, well, we have to get off at ramp number 915. What was that? I can't.
Yeah.
And it's like raining so hard, and people are like driving past us really fast and splashing water on us. And at one point, I just rolled down the window and I yelled, "How do you people live like this?" And
It's a
that
different life, mate.
that
I'm
helped
telling you.
me. That helped me get feel a little bit better. Feel a little bit. Yeah, absolutely. They're the most dangerous, getting behind the wheels, the most dangerous
It
thing you
is.
do. Being around the humans are dangerous. Everyone's worried about the bears, the bears, the bears. Yeah, okay, so there's been a fatality recently. Like, it happens every
You've
couple
got,
of years. But the reality is like humans kill each other like all the time. That's what they do.
yeah. And I live amongst all these wild animals, and I've had not one wild animal come at me aggressively or anything. Like, I know it's a matter of luck and chance at the time, but like, you could go into a couple bars in London on a Saturday night and get aggressive behavior, or driving, you're getting people flicking you off and getting mad. Or like, you don't get any of that out here. You're just left alone. And as long as you respect the animals, 99% of the time, they're going to respect you. And you can live
Yeah,
amongst them. You can live amongst them if you respect them. But it's their land and they were here first. So you always got to remember that too.
yeah. Way more
Some
likely
people
to
go out in the bush.
get
Yeah.
stabbed on a Friday night in London than you are in the
Oh,
the back
definitely. Just because
wilderness
you're
of
going to,
BC. So what's the
oh, yeah,
plan? Where do you
100%.
like? Where do you want to take your your
Homestead.
YouTube channel, but also like just the homestead? What's your sort of plan for this whole project?
Well, my plan for the streaming is to build a community of like-minded folk that have a place where, because everyone has a family and not always your family are the best people to have in your life. Sometimes it's the chosen people that you meet that are more supportive and caring towards you than your own family sometimes. So I want to build a close-knit community where people feel safe and they can express themselves and learn a lot of stuff from each other. And my dream for the live is for me to get enough followers where I can have a start, because I've got no signal out here. I'm running on Starlink right now, but I would love to have a second Starlink with me where then I would be able to live stream everything that I do, cutting wood, fishing, hunting, foraging, exploring, bushcraft, tenting, all that kind of stuff I would love to do on the live. But you need obviously a bit of money to get the Starlink. So I'm trying to grow the channel, build a great community, and then in the future I'll be doing more live streaming, but it will be a lot more different things, if you know what I mean. And for my homestead, my dream is for when me and Dana are old, me and my wife, my two boys, by then we would have built, me and my wife, a small cabin because this is a big 3,000 square foot log home. It takes a lot of wood to heat out here. I would like us to have a small log cabin and then one of the boys have this house and we build another house, log house for my other son. And then we kind of have a small community out here of family helping each other out. And by the time me and Dana are retired, I should have something set up on this homestead where they can generate money and carry on living this lifestyle. That is my dream, is for them to carry on this legacy that I've started out here. And just because I've been in London, I've seen this life, and personally, this life for me is better in every single way. And I want that for my kids. I want to influence my kids. I don't want someone else influencing. I'm happy to influence them and show them that ways of life can be, because it's beautiful out here, honestly. And whether I leave them some sort of ways to log or mill sheep or goats or bees, something where they can step into it when they're old enough and take over, and me and my wife can just watch the homestead grow in our old age and just sit back and relax. That's my dream, but who knows what will happen.
Well, you're kind of doing what I wanted to do. Like, Wells, I out of convenience and out of like lack of resources. Like, yeah, I was a touring musician. It's not like I had a lot of money, and this opportunity came up for dirtbag price. And Wells, for the 200 people that are here out in the middle of nowhere, it's a remote community. In
Mhm.
that regard, right? It's not I grew up being able to like open the door and walk outside and just sing and nobody could hear you. It's like,
Wow.
I
Yeah.
want that, uh, you know, instead of my neighbor's dog barking.
I had a neighbor from hell, and she was one of the reasons we sold our new build in Okotoks, because the neighbor, like we could have sat there for a long time. She might have lived there for 10 more years, and we might have had to put up with her for 10 more years. And we were like, listen, she might think she won the battle, but we're winning the war. We're leaving and doing bigger and better things. But that was a big decision for us to make, because we lived in a beautiful community right near the mountains. Everything was there, 15 minute city, both working full-time jobs. But the neighbor was just made me mentally unwell, almost having to deal with her every day. So we moved, and she, by doing that, brought us this. So sometimes you've got to up and move and change things for other things to happen, almost. But now we have no neighbors, so it's kind of the complete opposite now.
Yeah, I want that back again. I miss that. I was like, that's how I grew up. I liked that. Although,
Yeah, I
like
do.
as far as Wells goes, like I don't really have like nobody's really across from me. And
Yeah, it's
I got
lovely.
they're like I got neighbors kind of like 50% of my field of view. I'm kind of at the very
That's it. Yeah.
edge of town. It's like honestly, it's quiet here. Vehicles aren't going by. Like it's
That's what you
not
want, mate.
bad. It's not bad. And if I want to go to the wilderness, it's a
You're
couple of
right there.
minutes drive out of town, and I'm in the Caribou Mountains, and I'm in the most spectacular, the like typical mountains you're saying. Like you don't have the Banff kind of mountains there, but we do over in the Caribou Mountains right here.
You do.
Out the
You
back
do it.
door. So
Mhm.
it's take a 25-minute drive, and bam, there's your stellar mountain scenery.
Can I
So
ask you a
there's
question?
yes, you can.
So, like, I get a lot of people get triggered online because I say I'm from northern BC. Where am I from? Being where you know I am. Am I in northern BC or central BC?
I guess you're in the heart of BC, actually, right? Because they consider like Vanderoof's the geographical
Center.
center. But the thing is, like, I used to have this too, because where I grew up in Ontario isn't exactly northern Ontario. But if you're talking to
Sudbury.
anybody who's from Ontario, they're going to say, oh, yeah, you live up north there.
Sudbury area, probably.
right? You know what I mean? So like, no,
Yeah.
Sudbury is actually the beginning of Northern Ontario.
Oh, okay. Oh,
That's actually the beginning of Northern Ontario. If you live in Sudbury, you could say I live in Northern Ontario. But if you live like in Algonquin, you're not actually, and I'm not actually in Northern BC here, but everybody's gonna say, like, if you talk to someone from Vancouver, they'll be like, "Oh, you live up in the north there."
mm,
So it's like it's really subjective, right? And the other thing that Canadians do is they tell distance by time. They say, "How far is it?" And you say it's 800 kilometers. And they go,
And
"Yeah, but how long does it take to get there?" It's-